Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. Now, I haven't played Dawn Trail as a whole yet. I've been very hesitant to start it because of all the drama surrounding it, and since feedback it appears to be very mid, so I haven't been rushing to play it. I did play the pre-patch, so I do know about Wuk Lamat. I did see her in what was it, 6.55 or something like that. So I am familiar with who she is. So what we're going to be talking about today is that character specifically. Now, in the expansion, from what I've seen people refer to, now I don't know any specifics, so I won't be having any spoilers, so no worries if you haven't played it. But it seems like this character is very poorly written. The expansion overall was very poorly written, it sounds like. Pacing was bad. So a lot of people went online and voiced their frustration, especially with this character, because she was constantly in your face all the time. And she was very annoying and kind of just wasn't well received. Now, this character got a lot of defense when people realized that the voice actress or voice actor, whatever you want to refer to them as, was trans. Now, you know, anytime someone is part of the LGBTQIA alphabet community, they automatically get a shield. And anytime you criticize anything they do, even if it's legitimate criticism, it's don't be hateful. Don't be transphobic. It's the initial defense that comes up for anytime someone criticizes someone for doing something, and that person just happens to be trans or gay, or nowadays a woman or a person of color. I mean, it's a line of defense that they always throw up first. It's their initial shield. But it's not just them that always throw up that shield. It's other people who, I guess, want to come to their defense because, you know, they're trans or they got to be protected. They do that too. And I hate that. And it forces people who want to criticize the character, Wuk Lamat, they have to preface what they say with, you know, I don't really care that the character's voice actor is trans, or even though they're trans, they'll put some sort of, you know, statement at the beginning, qualifier, you know, just so people know, hey, I'm not talking about the trans part of this. I'm talking about the direction, the writing, the way it was voice acted itself. I'm not, you know, but people, what happens is people see that and they automatically say, well, because you mentioned it, well, it has to be because of that, right? So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's nothing you can do. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. Garrett Windsor or whatever, he's part of G&G, Grinding Gears. They play Final Fantasy XIV. They used to play like Heroes in the Storm, World of Warcraft. They've been streaming probably for the last couple of years the main storyline for Final Fantasy XIV. They're extremely successful. Good content, don't get me wrong. But Garrett's one of those individuals that I think lets things get to him a little bit too much. And you could tell. You could tell on stream some. He'll make little snide comments, and he does on Twitter all the time. So here's what he said after, because I was waiting to see what the response would be when they got into Dawn Trail, and here it is. Hardly a majority, but Wuk Lamat complaining keeps popping up in the comments, and I'm already over it. Frequently led by a statement like, not about gender or anything. Saying it's not about gender shows awareness of the shit the voice actor is catching because of gender-related reasons. So what are we doing? Piling on? Just being cruel? Y'all know I love talking shit, but can we turn up the kindness just one notch? So because they mention it, look, you have to mention it, because if not, people are going to accuse you of it. So they mention it to try to negate any potential backlash from their criticism, but they get it anyway. So they're screwed. This just goes to show you that he feels it's about the gender. He doesn't care about the valid criticism. It's about the gender damn, because now that the person has come out as trans, they have to be protected. They are no longer able to be criticized. And this is the problem I have with a lot of things when it comes to LGBTQ stuff, even the POC stuff. You can't criticize them because they're going to accuse you of being racist. a bigot, a transphobe, something, which is just fucking annoying as all get out. But Dawn Trail itself was just very mid. Not many people seemed to like it, which is sad. They were Final Fantasy 14 was peak, and I think they let it slide too far. Final Fantasy 14 director Yoshi P is asking the MMORPGs community to not attack Wuk Lamat's voice actress and the localization team online. I don't feel like they're getting attacked. I feel like they're getting criticized. Just because you're receiving criticism doesn't mean you're being attacked. This is what I hate with the way things are nowadays. If you voice, disagreement, it's automatic hate speech by some of these people, which is just absurd. While Dawn Trail is a largely beloved expansion, no, I completely disagree with that. It's not a largely beloved. People are out there, main people, some of your biggest YouTubers and Twitch streamers are calling this mid. Yes, they got nice things to say, but they've definitely said this is a huge letdown. And Wuk Lamat was a huge part of that. They may come online and try to be political about it, but when you watch their initial reactions and comments, Wuk Lamat was a big issue. There's been a lot of discussion around the narrative with Wuk Lamat at the center. And that's another problem. She was at the center. She was the main character of this expansion instead of your Warrior of Light. This conversation is quickly spilled into online hate. Oh my God. Directed at the people who make the English-speaking version of Final Fantasy 14 possible, and Yoshida wants it to stop. Here's what I will say. People in Hollywood, even voice acting, it started to be this way. If you're not black, you can't play a black role or voice a black role. If you're not gay, you can't play a gay role. If you're not trans, you can't play a trans role. Remember, Scarlett Johansson had a role where she was going to play this trans character. I believe it was trans, either trans or gay. But she was essentially forced to step down and say she couldn't play this role because she's not trans. So my thought is, if that's the line that we're going to draw in the sand, unless Final Fantasy 14 is going to come outright and say, yes, Wuk Lamat is trans in game, then maybe the voice actor voicing the character should also be whatever gender Wuk Lamat is in game. If Wuk Lamat's a woman, then they need to get a woman to voice Wuk Lamat. I don't make the rules. I just play by them. Those are the rules that they set in place. We have to live by them. I don't know what you want me to say. Wuk Lamat is the new central character of Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail, blah, blah, blah. We know that. Her reception has been mixed, because she's the main player and she's constantly in your face and she's annoying, and the writing was bad. That's why she's annoying. Her character art was horrible from what I've seen people say online. This has led to hate being thrown at some of those working on the game. And you know what? It's not hate, guys. It's criticism. It's criticism. There's a difference between hate and criticism. I can't say it enough. Firstly, so Yoshida goes on to say, firstly, I do understand that when we look at all the feedback that we get, it's really difficult to discern what is specifically the feedback about the story and then the feedback where people are just criticizing the character in relation to values and such. It's really difficult. I didn't see a lot of people making criticism purely because she's trans. Yeah, you're going to have the few assholes here and there. But again, you could have avoided that by sticking to the rules that they set in place. Remember, we just talked about that. If you just stuck to those rules, this problem, the hate, wouldn't exist. All you would have then is people criticizing legitimately her role in the expansion and how annoying she was and how poorly written she was. But I would very much like to request something. I would really like to ask that people do not direct personal attacks to the voice actors involved in the development and also individual members of the localization team. The reason people are, it's not attacks, but the reason people are criticizing is because they just didn't like who they chose for this. Again, we didn't make the rules. We just play by them. That's all I'm saying. I can understand on one hand why some people might have issues with this. Look, this is a thing in the West. Not in Japan, not in China. If I guarantee you there was no trans person playing the Japanese role. Just wasn't. There were people who said it was much easier to take Wuk Lamat by playing the Japanese with the Japanese language, because I guess the delivery and the lines and everything was a lot easier. I don't know. But all I've seen is they're not complaining about the trans part. They're complaining about how everything was delivered, the directions of the voice that maybe were given to the voice actor, how they delivered the lines, just not to mention the story. That's all I've seen. Okay. I'm sure there's probably one or two individual assholes that wanted to complain. But again, we don't make the rules. We just play by them. If you don't like them, then change the rules. Okay. Let anybody play anybody. It is really not that they are trying to bring forward an argument about a certain movement or anything like that. It's just that they are doing their best for the development. So I would really like to ask that the players do not direct personal attacks against them. Wuk Lamat's actor identifies as trans and has been the target of online See, here's the thing. They're going to pick, I doubt they have it in there, but they could probably pick one or two out and back up this statement. But they're going to paint it in this article as if that's all they're getting, where it's probably not even 1% of the feedback that Final Fantasy 14 and the localization team are receiving as far as Wuk Lamat is concerned. Because I haven't seen it. And I'm on Twitter quite a lot, and I have not seen feedback or criticism of the actress purely because they're trans. Some players argue that Final Fantasy XIV's English voice cast is inferior to the Japanese cast and use this opinion to peddle hateful speech. What hateful speech? That they felt the Japanese cast did a better job than the English cast did? That's not hateful. Lamat's voice actress also says she has received regular death and doxing threats online as people attack her for her character's choice. Look, that happens all the time to everybody. There's people I've seen produce videos on YouTube that people don't like, so they get hateful threats via DMs and stuff. There's idiots out there. There's assholes. You can't use that and paint with a broad brush everybody else who happens to not like this character in this expansion. It just doesn't work that way. There's no logic behind it. Okay. If you're getting doxing or death threats, block those people, report them if they're legitimate death and doxing threats, because that's against terms of service. Or if it's death threats, report them to the police, but block them and move on. You can't paint an entire fan base off of one or two individuals who are acting like a nut job. There's nut jobs out there. I'm sure they wouldn't want me to paint the entire trans community based off of one individual nut job who happened to shoot up a Catholic school. Just saying. So, yeah, this is the drama. Yoshi P seems to be, I guess, trying to be political here. I guess he's gotten enough pushback on his side that he's either been told to, or he felt like he needed to make a statement to appease people. I don't think that the hate that they like to call it is anywhere near the level that they seem to imply in this article. I just think it was a very mid expansion. Wuk Lamat was not the best character as much as I loved the way her character looked when they introduced her in the trailer. But, and that was before I played 6.55. And if I didn't want to read, I would play the Japanese language, but I don't want to read. I want to listen to the voice. That way I don't have to feel like I got to read everything, especially if I'm streaming it, right? I don't have to read every single thing. And from what I've heard, oh my God, there's a lot in Dawn Trail. I think Preach said it was 6 to 9 hours, one of those two numbers, when they started the expansion, before they had any combat, and the combat they had was killing one mob. That's asking a lot. And as an individual, I would have to break that up with like dungeon runs or something, because when you're playing a game, it's not just you want story, but the people need to play a game. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I am planning to play this, and I may stream some of it. I just haven't done it yet. I've had other games that to me appealed to me more, only because as excited as I was for this, I was kind of let down with some of the feedback on the expansion. So I've even considered potentially skipping it, but you know, I know a lot of people think that's taboo when it comes to 14. I haven't done that yet for any expansion. So I'll start playing it. We'll see how it goes, but that'll, you know, how enjoyable it is. That's going to determine whether I skip it or not, because I don't know if I want to stream it if it's going to be that hard to get through. I'm not like some of these streamers that it's their job to go 8 hours a day streaming something, right? So it is what it is. We'll have to see what happens. But that's my thought on this whole thing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hit like on this button if you liked the video, and for more content, hit subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time.